Okay, I'd like to talk about Britney Spears, if I may, and I was thinking about this for a while. Should I talk about it? Should I not talk about it? Um, she's 3 months older than I am, so I remember when she was. I didn't watch Mickey Mouse Club, but I remember when she was like 15, 16, 17, starting out. Okay, I remember her when, yeah, this cute little girl, and the next thing you know, she's boozing and drinking and fucking it. Okay, now Britney Spears had that downward spiral, which is very, very, very common with child stars. Trust me. You know what I mean? But she has this downward spiral, and I remember one incident was New Year's Eve. She was reportedly to have drunk 3 bottles of champagne. Now, that's alcoholism because you have to build up tolerance for that. You take a sip of champagne, it's strong. You drink a little more, you get a champagne headache. If you can drink 3 bottles and be conscious, you're a big alcoholic. Now, some of the things that she's done supposedly are urban legend, okay, and some are scientific fact. Obviously, the champagne is urban legend. Did it happen? We don't know. Um, but she was an alcoholic. That was the weekend that she married her friend from high school as a joke, and had to get it annulled. Yeah, high school. Yeah, you marry a guy in Vegas. Okay, you get it annulled the next day. Okay, it's nothing new. But if you look at the downward spiral, she's an alcoholic. She was a sex addict, very big sex addict. She would have bodyguards and other personal people saying she drinks, she does drugs. We're afraid for the kids. She was videotaped driving with her baby on her lap on the freeway, which is an absolute fucking no. Okay, the things that she was caught on camera doing are disturbing enough, even if all the other alleged shit is false. Like, even if all of the urban legends are not true, the stuff we know is even more scary than that is. Okay. I was doing my psychology class. The professor was a blonde-haired girl. She was 5 years older than I was. I was 25. She was 30 at the time. It's like 5 feet tall, 100 pounds. Okay, but she's brilliant. And we're talking about Britney Spears because she just had that episode with the fucking umbrella. Yeah. And the professor says to me in the whole class, if you shave your head, and I took my cap off, so I had a fucking buzz cut. Like, but there was that incident when she shaved her head, got a couple tattoos, and a tattoo called an umbrella. When she was dating Kevin Federline, there was that incident when she was walking out of her gas station bathroom barefoot. Now, I have OCD. I'm not a big germaphobe, but there are a few things you can do that will freak me out. Okay, she was in the bed. She was in the car. She was in the bed with I have a heart attack. Okay, now, Britney was doing the barefoot in the bathroom, the gas station bathroom thing. And then, not even 2 months later, she was on stage and her backup dancers had the open back dress on. And they got down and she was dancing barefoot and she stood on their backs. And I'm like, you let her put her bare feet on your bare back after the gas station bathroom incident? Okay, that freaked me out. And it was a whole lot of, all psychological. There was one time she ended up in an ambulance, and a lot of people think she was trying to commit suicide. Okay, she had a lot of problems. And when you have a lot of problems, a conservatorship is justified. She was incapable mentally of managing her financial affairs, and in many cases her physical affairs. Okay, getting married. Okay, she 13 years ago should not have had the right to get married on her own. She should have not had certain rights with her finances because she was a fucking unstable lunatic. She had so many psychological problems. Now, if she had committed a bank robbery, she would have been out of prison by now. 13 years later, she's still doing concerts, still profiting from her record sales, all the bullshit over the years, royalties. But her father is getting the money. And her father has a lot more control than he should have had. Okay? She needs his permission to buy a car. Should be 40 December 2nd. She has the same birthday as my brothers. She needs permission to get married, and she's not getting permission to get married. She had I'm not good with medical science, but she had a device inserted into her vagina so that she can't get pregnant, but she wants to get pregnant again on purpose. Okay? She gets $1,000 a month, but she's worth $100 million plus or more. And at this point, it's blatantly obvious that she's a hostage. Now, when it first happened, there's a lot of reasons for you to have, you have people that are elderly and have Alzheimer's disease. My father and my uncle had to have, power of attorney over my biological grandfather because he was slowly going into dementia and he eventually died. Okay? He was in his 90s. So, there are reasons for you to have legal or financial or some other shit control over someone's life. But you must be mature about it. Okay? It is not the least bit uncommon for a bastard nephew to have his uncle's power of attorney dump him in a home and take all his money. In fact, my biological grandfather, his wife's nephew, tried that. He tried to get power of attorney over my biological grandfather and take his money. And that's when my father came in with my uncle, and they took over power of attorney. So they would control it, not them. So you have people with Alzheimer's disease. You have people that have a very, very serious head injury, which results in mental instability. You have people that are involved in a very, very serious accident where they render quadriplegic. Okay? You may have someone that may die with a lot of money in the bank, and their only heir may be someone who has mental retardation. Developmentally disabled, they call them now. Where they're my age with the mind of a 5-year-old. Okay, and their father dies and leaves them $800,000. They can't control that money. Okay, there are people in this world that have mental challenges, developmental disabilities, where they will never mature past age 10. So they could physically be 40 years old and have the mind of a child. And I've seen that in people. And they're 40 years old with the mind of a child. They can't sign documents. They can't get married. They can't have kids. They can't get a driver's license. They can't leave the fucking house, okay? So there are reasons for certain things to happen. But when you are, and if you do have a mental collapse, like Britney did, you would need a conservatorship to get back on course, to have someone help you with your finances while you're dealing with your addictions, mental illnesses, and other problems. But fast forward to 13 years later, and they're not even giving her a chance to rehabilitate herself. They're not giving her a chance to prove she can control herself. Okay, it's blatantly control now. It's no longer about her well-being. 13 years ago when I first heard it happened, it happened 13 years ago. I heard about it as it happened. And I wasn't on board with it. I said, that sounds good because she's a fucking lunatic. Okay, she marries dirtbags. Okay, she drinks, she drives with her fucking kid in her lap on the highway. Okay? But 13 years later, from a legal standpoint, from a moral standpoint, she should be allowed to have control of her life back. And if she goes off the wall again, okay, it's suicidal attempts, alcoholism, fucking all this shit, then, okay, but they should give her the chance at least. Okay, because I've seen people put in prison for rape, and 13 years later they're their own person again on the street to do whatever they want. Okay, I've seen people commit, drunk driving murder, and get released back into the public, and get their driver's license back. I mean, there's no legal reason for her to have this control now. Okay, because now that 13 years later, now that she seems to have calmed down a lot, matured a lot, she seems mentally stable. Okay, she should have that chance. Here's a question though. If she was not a mega pop star with a huge bank account, if Britney Spears was a waitress, if Britney Spears was a secretary, okay, if Britney Spears was a housewife, or in her case, a house ex-wife, okay, if Britney Spears was a common girl from the street who had alcoholism, horrible relationship choices, okay, mental breakdowns, mental illness, left in an ambulance, possibly to a mental institution, okay, but she was just a lower class person, low income person, no high school diploma, low IQ, and she had to work menial jobs for $7 an hour. Okay, would her father be this controlling of her? In other words, her father has the legal money. Her father has the money. When she does a concert, her father gets the money. When that royalty check from Baby One More Time comes in the mail, or the direct deposit, her father has control of it. She's so crazy that she requires you to have legal control over her, yet she's not able to have a concert. Well, how does that work out? So when it comes time for her to buy a car, buy a house, book a vacation, marry some guy, get pregnant by that guy, when it comes to that bullshit, she is mentally unstable and she needs your protection. But when it comes to her hosting a concert, which will generate tens of millions of dollars, she's capable of doing that. How does that fit into the picture? I want you to take a deep breath. Focus on those two things I just mentioned. If this is Britney Spears, the high school dropout, making $7 an hour at a menial job, okay, or, okay, where her father cared as much, and she's so mentally unstable that she can't buy cars, buy houses, get married, and have kids, but she's not mentally unstable enough to have a concert and make millions of dollars. Focus on those two things. Thank you.